Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and of course, continuing on with the Spider-Man marathon. Now, it's time for Spider-Man 3. Yep. So Spider-Man 3, the final installment in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. Now, this is where things kind of went downhill for this one, and, because it was mutual. Like, it got mixed reviews, and there are some people that didn't like it, and some people that do like it. Well, for me, because I don't think it's that bad. I like it. Aside, because with some stupid moments here and there, but just it tries, but not done in the right way. You get my point. Well, anyway, so I can't recall, like, if it does explain where it picks up, like, maybe a year or so, or a couple of years after the events of Spider-Man 2. I don't know, but, especially because after, in the second one, well, Mary Jane and Peter Parker, they finally got together. Harry Osborn, like, he now knows that, Peter is Spider-Man, and and in this, Peter is planning to propose to Mary Jane, and also with Harry seeking revenge, and that cool sequence where this was unexpected for Peter because he's simply riding on his motorbike, and Harry comes in and swoops down and grabs him, because Harry becoming the new Green Goblin, and with a new glider, and with the mask he has, yeah. And it's, the many times that Peter has told Harry that he didn't kill his father, why won't Harry listen? Like, why? Because Peter's telling him that, but I don't know, my guess is that, Harry is just blinded by too much anger, and the fact that his mind is focused on revenge, That's my guess. But anyways, also during this, we also have Sandman, played by Thomas Hayden Church. Now, Thomas Hayden Church, because I think he does pretty well in this. And you know what? What goes on for Sandman is quite emotional and sad. One thing is, he is framed for murder, and because apparently he's the one that killed Ben Parker. And also, but all that, for him being framed, and he's on the run, a fugitive and such, he was trying to get money to save his daughter, because his daughter suffering from an illness. So, yeah, a father being there for his little girl. So, there you go. And I just love it that when, Sandman, before he leaves the apartment, and seeing his daughter, and I suppose that's his ex-wife, I don't know, and Sandman says, well, I don't know, because I'm looking at it on the tablet, and I don't know if he's just called Sandman, or I can't remember his real name, but one line that he says right before he leaves is, I'm not a bad person, and we find out that he isn't. And Peter Parker realizing and finding out from police that Sandman was the one that killed his uncle, and also some of the aside from Sandman, new characters in this from Eddie Brock and Gwen Stacy. Gwen Stacy in the third Spider-Man film, and Gwen Stacy being played by Bryce Dallas Howard, and George Stacy being played by James Cromwell. Yeah, they do fine, and I want to say that this was before, like, Bryce really went off, took her off, her career took off, like, from Jurassic World and stuff like that. I don't know, but and also Eddie dating Gwen, and I just love it because I like it when that Eddie and George, they meet for the first time, and, I work at the Daily Bugle, and I'm dating your daughter, and it's just like, oh, I don't know what his reaction was, but, yeah, and that sequence where a crane accidentally hits a tall building where Gwen is doing fashion, modeling, and a crane that's out of control and is malfunctioning, like hits the building, and it causes Gwen at one point to fall, and Spider-Man coming in to save Gwen. Also Venom coming in, from space, and first possessing and controlling Peter, and manipulating him, etc., and that classic Dr. Jekyll thing. I've learned about that, and take, for example, like Smeagol and Gollum, from Lord of the Rings. But although some people say that, Peter Parker being possessed by Venom and what he's doing throughout most of the film being possessed by it, it's geeky. I can understand, but, let's face it. When you look at, say, the Venom films, they're funny. Like, they have some funny stuff to it. And Venom, like, having a sense of humor, and so does Eddie. So, But I'm sure because for the third one, it was too geeky. But, In fact, why didn't the Venom in Spider-Man 3 talk and was like the Venom in the Venom films? I don't know. Different universe, blah, blah, blah. That, basically, I'm right. And, yeah, because that sequence where Peter and as Black Suit Spider-Man killing Sandman, we think that he killed him. He thinks that he killed him, and and how Sandman got his superpowers because he was running from the police, and he stumbled upon, I guess, this experiment that I don't know what it was, but it had to do with sand, and the sand or something got in his DNA. It was some kind of special kind of sand that got inside of him, his DNA, and made him become Sandman. So, I'm trying to remember. And that montage of emo Peter. Just with the music playing, and he's getting the girl's attention and flirting with, like, say, Ursula and Betty. And at one point he gets Eddie fired. And at one point, like, I'm not really sure, like, maybe, well, there wasn't that much of a relationship for Gwen and Eddie, and especially, like, one part where, like, there's a Spider-Man festival going on, and Gwen is, they're telling everybody, kiss her, and, lay it on, and so, like, Gwen gives Spider-Man a kiss, and it does upset Mary Jane, but, come on, she has to face the fact that, because of what's going on, and, the people don't know that it's Peter Parker, simple as that. And I'm trying to remember. Oh, yeah, another thing is the first time that Sandman and Spider-Man fought, and when Sandman escaped, like, I like that line that Spider-Man says, where do these guys come from? And that's true, like, no matter what, like, once in a while, a villain like that would pop up. So, first there was Green Goblin, then there was Doc Ock, and now there's Sandman. Anyways, but, and at one point, because, I'm trying to remember, like, things are not too great, I guess, for Peter and MJ, especially when he was gonna propose to MJ at a restaurant, and Bruce Campbell's cameo as the man at the front desk, with the mustache, and I'm trying to remember, and and at one point, because Harry does forget what he's doing, like, forgetting revenge, and forgetting that, blaming and thinking that Peter Parker killed his father, because he got hit on the head hard, but it starts coming back into him when he hears his father's voice. So that, and, he blackmails Mary Jane into breaking up with Peter. And you know what? Why couldn't Mary Jane just tell Peter? Whisper in his ear or something? Or, I don't know. Yes, Harry was watching over them and, making sure she does so. But still, But nope, because, she does break up with him and, that's it. And, Peter being depressed and so on. And need I mention, because, oh yeah, when we come up to that jazz club or whatever it is, and that Mary Jane works at as waitress, and Peter taking Gwen on a date and does a song, and, well, pretty much it's a dance number. And, he's on the piano and he says, "This is for you, MJ." And, yeah, the dance sequence, can't forget about mentioning that. I don't really know what to say about it, but my thoughts on it, because you go from that to when, and that's the last we see of Gwen, like when she finds out that it was all for MJ, and she just leaves. We don't see her again. That's it for Gwen. So bye, Gwen. And at one point, because Peter accidentally hits MJ, and he runs away, and he's up top of the church, and Eddie comes in, and he's praying to God to kill Peter Parker, and Peter once and for all tries to get rid of Venom, and by hitting the bell, and it does affect Venom, just the sound and the loudness, and it comes to Eddie, and yep, so now Eddie is now part of Venom. And at one point, because Venom/Eddie, they meet up with Sandman, and they both team up on taking on against Spider-Man. And first of all, Eddie captures Mary Jane, and they're at a construction site. Oh yeah, and at one point, because I forgot to mention, when Peter was emo Peter, he fought off against Harry. Harry threw a bomb at Peter. He threw it back at him, and it exploded, and it left Harry with I guess part of his eye dead, I want to say. No pupil. Ugh. And scars around his face. And Peter asks Harry for help, but he doesn't want to. But then the butler, who I believe, who appeared in the second film, I want to say, and in the third film. Throughout in all three Spider-Man films, I want to say. I can't remember that much on him. But literally out of nowhere, he flat out tells Harry what happened to his father, how he got killed. And he died by his own hands of the glider. What took him so long to say that? Did he didn't realize that it was the glider until now, or the butler discovered, I want to say? Maybe, I really don't know. But of course, it seems like Peter is about to be killed once and for all by Venom and Sandman, but Harry coming in and saving the day. So Harry is Green Goblin, but is a good goblin. So I like that scene where I didn't mention that I didn't say anything about Jameson, but one thing is about Jameson is he asks for a little girl's camera, and you want a job, and why? I'm a kid. And okay, how much for taking a picture with the camera? $100. $100? All right, fine. And he takes a picture, but it's not really taking pictures. It's a toy camera or something. So she got Jameson. Kids being clever, being sneaky. Jameson got outsmarted by a kid. That's pretty much it. I nailed it right there. And so, the fight between Spider-Man, Goblin... Okay, no. To put it this. Spider-Man and Green Goblin against Sandman and Venom. And the defeat of Venom, first of all, Venom, launches, how does it go? What's it, those, the weapons of the glider, they're about to hit Peter, I want to say, but Harry steps in and saves Peter's life, and, he sacrifices himself, and then Peter finishes off Venom once and for all, and with those steel bars, and he pulls Eddie out of there and is about to throw a bomb at Venom. And I remember because Eddie, going, "Peter, what are you doing?" And literally because Eddie just jumps in and, yeah, he dies with Venom. So, and as I recall, there were 10 minutes of Venom's appearance in the film. And it's obvious everybody was disappointed of how much we got of Venom. But hey, it wouldn't be too long until Venom would get his own movie with Tom Hardy. So there you go. And Sandman and Peter talking, and Sandman tells Peter what really happened, and Sandman accidentally shot his uncle. And yeah, so Sandman is not a bad guy, of course, but I can't really put it to words as to like him kind of turning evil, because when he was Sandman, like fighting off against Spider-Man, I don't know, because he couldn't negotiate with Spider-Man, so he had to do what he had to do. But fine, but eventually they came to terms. So yeah, that's good. And I just like it because, again, you know what? Because from Sandman and Doc Ock, they're like the two characters in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy where they're like anti-heroes, and they're redeemed. So there you go. And I'm not so sure. Like, what about Mr. Osborn? Willem Dafoe. Isn't he like? He's being manipulated by Green Goblin, like he's half Osborn, half Green Goblin, I want to say. And he's being possessed by the Green Goblin. That's my guess. But anyways. And the death of Harry, it is emotional. And even up to that point when, everything was cool with Harry and Peter. But then he dies. And the epilogue and the ending to it, because it ends with, Peter and Mary, they're back at that jazz club, I want to say, and they're just slowly dancing, and then the movie ends. And I remember, because, there were plans for a fourth Spider-Man film, and even, say, there was an interview with Tobey Maguire, and there's a video of it on YouTube, and in the title, it said an interview with Tobey Maguire on Spider-Man 4 that took place 14 days before the fourth Spider-Man film was canceled. So, yeah. It would have been interesting what would have been what if Spider-Man 4 happened. My guess is that, we probably, maybe, I want to say, we would have gotten, say, Vulture and probably Mysterio, because, for one thing, I'm sure people were wanting to guess that Bruce Campbell would be Mysterio. I mean, because he kept popping up as, different people in all three Spider-Man films. Probably so. Or if it's just because, Bruce is Sam's lucky charm. That's my guess, but you never know. So, how do I rate Spider-Man 3? Good question. Oh boy. Well, I give it, what the heck, 7 out of 10. I do like this, and I know it's mutual, like, people do and do not like it, but I'm one of those people that actually do like it. So again, 7 out of 10 for Spider-Man 3. You guys let me know what you think of Spider-Man 3, what you thought of my review, leave comments, and give this review a like as always. And of course, you know what's next. We now come to the Garfield Spider-Man films, with Garfield and with Andrew Garfield. So that's for tomorrow. The Spider-Man marathon is still happening. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video /review. Take care, and peace out.